Buenos Aires, amigos, from a suburb of Detroit. I have a topic I want to talk about. Last week, well, actually 2 weeks ago or so, I heard a gentleman on social media suggest that people round off. If they're thinking about pesos per dollar, they round it up at 20 pesos per dollar. But it hasn't been 20 pesos per dollar for quite some time, or a while anyway. You can look at the websites and see what the exchange rates are and how they went down. But I understand his intentions were probably good because he said it's hard to think of to do the math at some of the other figures at the point something or whatever. If you go to 16 point something or 17 point something, you'll get quicker results if you think of it in terms of 20. But the problem with that is you're not going to come up with an accurate estimation. I believe his intentions were good. And I just want to say, because I thought about it, and I've been following the exchange rates, and my friends have, or other people have actually. And yesterday, the exchange rate was 17.2 pesos per dollar. So if you're thinking about almost 2 years ago, it was at 20 pesos per dollar. So I want to give you a few examples and start with a few examples and talk about that real quick. And you can do the math for yourself. And I encourage people to go to websites. Now, I'm only going to talk about a couple of years ago, almost a couple of years ago, versus yesterday's exchange rate at 17.2 pesos per dollar. So say you went down to you were going to Mexico and you decided you only want to spend, or you wanted to spend $3,500 US. And a couple of years ago, at 20 pesos per dollar, you would have gotten 70,000 pesos. At yesterday's exchange rate of 17.2, you multiply that by the same $3,500 US, and you would be less 9,800 pesos, and divide that by 17.2, which was the exchange rate yesterday. And the difference in 2 years, you would be less $569. Now, if you go to $3,000 per you want to go down there $3,000 per month, and whether it's a single person or a couple, times the 20,000 is 60,000, and that was 2 years ago. 3,000 times 17.2, which was yesterday's exchange rate, and that would equal 51,600 less 8,400 pesos than you would have gotten 2 years ago, and divide that by 17.2, and that's less $488 than you would have gotten 2 years ago. Now, a couple more examples I'll try to give you here. 2,500 at 20 pesos per dollar 2 years ago is 50,000 pesos. 2,500 US dollars times 17.2 pesos per dollar, which was yesterday. It's 43,000. So there's a less 7,000 pesos. Divide that by 17.2, and which is the exchange rate yesterday. And there's a $406 difference between 2 years ago and yesterday. So two more quick examples. 2,000 times 20 pesos per dollar, 40,000 pesos, which was almost 2 years ago. And yesterday it's 17.2. Pesos per dollar. You take that 2,000 US that you might be wanting to spend in Mexico. That's 34,400 is less 5,580 pesos. Divide that by 17.2, and you'll be getting less 324 US dollars than you would have gotten 2 years ago at the 2,000. If you were to go down there with 2,000. Now, the last example is if you were going down there with, and you wanted to spend 1,500 US dollars per month, multiply that by the old exchange rate of 20 pesos per dollar 2 years ago, that's 30,000 pesos, but 1,500 US dollars times yesterday's exchange rate of 17.2 equals 25,800 pesos, less 4,200 pesos. Now, you take that 4,200 pesos, divide that by 17.2, and you'll be less $244 than you would have been 2 years ago. So, You can do the math yourself, but I'm still going to Mexico. um, a lot of people have been talking about this. Now, Mexico is still affordable, but there are people in Mexico who are talking about this and are making changes. Now, I'll be making some changes, but it's not based on the fact that I can't afford, like, I'll give you, for instance, I was living 2.5 years ago in a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, nice apartment, fully furnished, gated community, had a big pool, a nice pool. And can I still afford to rent that apartment today? Yes. Yes, I can. But I had been thinking about doing different things. I moved to Chapala and for a while, and I love it in those places, but I want to just use my money or have more money to do other things. So I'm going to be moving, and I'm looking for different places. Now I can, once again, I can afford to. I can afford to live in Ajijic, but I've been there for quite some time. I've been in the lakeside area for 4.5 years. Come up here frequently, but I want more. I want to do more with my money, or do different things with my money, and I may be going to Hakotepec, and that's been strong on my list. I've been considering that for a long time, more than a year, about a year at least. I've been going to Hakotepec for 4.5 years. Well, that was the first time I went there, but all the towns in the lakeside area, and I just tend to. I'm trying to think of how to explain this, because it's a great town. Now, a friend of mine, he asked me, he says, well, how are you going to be able to stand it in Hakotepec? There aren't a lot of expats, and you're going to be far from the American Legion. And, and I told him, I said, no problem, I'll utilize my time. I don't have to be around a lot of expats, or as many, because Hakotepec has just a fraction, small fraction of expats that, say, Ajijic or Chapala has, or the other towns like San Antonio, Roberts del Pilar, Ajijic, and West Ajijic, which is not a town. It's just the west part of Ajijic, and then San Juan, Cosala. There are some expats there too, but as you go to El Chante and Chantepec and up to Hakotepec, there's many less. And on the other side of the lake, there's not a lot. There's quite a few less. And I did consider renting on the other side of the lake. And I know 2 people there. One's a friend of mine, and the other man is a friend, but I'm just getting acquainted with him, and I sat with him quite a few times. But, and I have met other people there, but, and I've gotten assistance from people. They've given me phone numbers or ideas on how to find apartments there, but I'm thinking Hakotepec because I love it there. But, too, but I love Chapala. I love all the towns. I'm trying to say this in a spirit of, there's a town called Ichalawakat. A friend of mine, Dan, he sent me a Facebook listing about 5 months ago, 6 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, because I was telling him, although I love all the lakeside towns, I want some change, different, experience something different again, living there, not just going back and forth there like I was. I wanted to experience something different on a daily basis for a while. And he sent me a listing that was nice, beautiful apartment. Although it had stairs going upwards, for me, that's not a problem. And there was a cochera, a garage, down below. And I considered that, but I've also considered towns like Santa Cruz de Soledad, really sleepy towns, just outside of Chapala, like 4 miles outside Chapala. Another one is San Nicolas de Ibarra. That's 5 miles outside of Chapala. I've considered those places, and Santa Cruz de Soledad. Yeah, I said that. Beautiful little town. but I also have a considered Guadalajara. Now, I have been going there for, wow, 4.5 years in Tlaquepaque. And I've been going back and forth quite frequently. Even when I'm not shooting YouTube videos, I go there. Now, I can understand. People think, wow, oh man, traffic is too bad. Too many people. Oh, man. You know, I'll tell you, when I first couple times I went to Guadalajara, yes, it is busy going there. But I didn't have a car at the time. I took the direct bus from the lakeside area, but I would get off at the zoo because I noticed that there was a lot of traffic going into Centro. But I would get off at the Guadalajara Zoo and then take a cab to Centro or somewhere, and I would get on a railway system there. Now, I can get around pretty good. Now, I would wind up in Centro, okay, but then I also would go to different neighborhoods, and there are a lot of nice, quiet, good neighborhoods in Guadalajara. So it's not as, oh my God, I understand you're going to have the hustle and bustle. I will tell you, I remember the first time going to Guadalajara. I was getting off the bus at the Guadalajara Zoo, and I seen it's just like, oh, these people, it's like they're going to work. Ooh, everything's, but once you get through that, it is not so bad. And it is not LA traffic going to Guadalajara. Well, I've never lived in LA, but I've seen traffic jams on TV, on television, but reports and stuff. But it's, I'm from a big city, and I've been to other big cities in the U.S., and that traffic going to Guadalajara isn't as bad as some of the big cities in the U.S., but there are busy times and there are times when it's not busy. So I'm not going to surrender to, oh boy, there's too much traffic. I'm not going. And I didn't want to make it ruin a pleasant experience because there's a lot of galleries there. There's a lot of museums there. There's a lot of good places to eat. There's good coffee shops. And it's just a great place. It's a nice place. But I want to talk a little bit about where I might want to go, and that would be into one of the neighborhoods of Guadalajara, because some people might not be aware. Some people might be aware, but there are some nice neighborhoods in Guadalajara. And I've been communicating with a friend of mine for the last several days, every day, and she wants me to try her neighborhood out. I've known her for 3.5 years. I met her in Ajijic about 3 years ago, and she seldom comes to Ajijic, but I have been looking at other neighborhoods too. There's some, I Googled some, because I watch other YouTube videos about Guadalajara City, and I just recently saw one. There's so many, and it looks, hearing what the expats who are living there have to say. As a matter of fact, there's a YouTuber, although she's much younger than me, she lived there for a year. So there's other people I know that are living there. I have Mexican friends that live there, and I have an expat friend. He is from Canada. I met him in Chapala. And he was in Chapalita last month. Now he's in Playa, I don't know what it is. Something de Bosque or El Bosque, okay? So he says that's a good neighborhood too. But I also know that there's Chapalita, there's Jardín del Country, there's Colonia Americana, Provencia, different neighborhoods that I've been looking at, or researching. Now I've been to these places before, driving around, walking around, and things like that. Getting up, maybe going out to have some lunch or something like that. But I didn't realize, there are so many of them and nice places. Now, I don't want to turn this too much into a Guadalajara video, but that is a strong choice, or that's on the list. That's strong on the list. Now, I want to say, too, people aren't aware of this. Of course, people like to go to, say, Guadalajara or the lakeside area, and places like San Miguel de Allende because of the temperate climate. Yes, there it's great climate, but many people, I did a video about, say, people who want to go, like they leave the lakeside area for 2 weeks or a month, sometimes 2 months, and they go out to the beach towns. Because when it comes to like December, December, January, and February, some even go in November, there's beach towns, they cool down quite a bit. They're not as hot and they're more tolerable. And I tell you, I know a guy, a friend of mine, he goes to Scallions a lot. I remember the other year ago or so, or I'd ask her almost more than a year ago, I said, where is he? Where, I'm asking people, I haven't seen him for a month. And they said, oh, he's in Mazatlan, him and his dog. He took his dog to Mazatlan during the winter months because it cools down. And I think he's probably back. I think this season he went to Bucharest, or however you pronounce it. I'm looking at my phone. Bucharest or something like that. But you can go in Puerto Vallarta. You can go to Mazatlan. You can do that. You can leave the lakeside area, maybe go get a hotel, or you can stay in the lakeside area for a while and then go out and stay in the beach down south. That's what I'm thinking about doing possibly too. Or I am thinking about doing it, and I should have done it already because I love water, and I like going in the water. I did a video with me in the water at my pool, at the place where I used to live. But yeah, I like water, and I would like to go places like that. But I don't know. Another place I'm thinking about, I've been doing some research and watching some videos, but I need to just not watch videos. I need to do research. And some of that comes up with cost of living research too. Puebla, that might be a good fit for me too. Morelia, there's a local, he's not local anymore, but in Lakeside, but he's in Mazatlan. He's going to Morelia in July. He's already got an apartment set up. So there are other places to go. Merida's kind of hot for me, probably even now, but a lot of expats live there. For people who want to go to a place like that, there are so many places. And there are places that I mentioned, like Morelia and Puebla, that have a good climate for those who don't want that hot, scorching, or hot climate that you'll get in the beach towns. But once again, beach towns go up in the winter months. So there are many, many, many other places to go. I should make a lengthier list, and I'm going to do that probably for another video. But this one is going on quite long, and so I don't know. It's all up in the air. I have a list with, well, let's see, how do I explain it? I have a list that I do strongly want to go to, and then I have a list of places that I'm thinking about going to also. So I've been talking quite a bit, since like 18 minutes. I'm going to close this channel. I'm not going to make any more videos before I go to Mexico. I got a lot of things I want to do, and but please continue watching. In the meantime, leave comments in the comment section. If you watch this video, as long as it is right now, I want to say thank you. If you didn't watch this video, as long as it says it's 19 minutes, I want to say thank you. I appreciate that too. But tap on that notification bell. You'll be notified of upcoming videos. Adios, amigos.